Good evening, everybody. How are you doing tonight? We're all doing great because we are here. Let me first say how honored I am to be able to speak with you just a few minutes and to bring you a small but important message. First, before I start, I'd also like to thank all the partners who work on a daily basis and all the individuals to help people who are struggling with homeless situations. So just know from the heart that I thank you for that. I know that you do work every day, and we will continue to work until we can see that we've made a big enough difference in the lives of the folks in Wake County. So I just want to tell you one more thing about myself. I am a small town girl. I was born in New Jersey, but I was telling someone tonight that I stayed there about 2 months because my dad was in the Army. And I grew up in the western part of the state, the foothills of the mountains. Anybody heard of Cherville? No. Well, that's because it's really small. It's Cherryville. It's in Gaston County. But I want to tell you that in Gaston County and growing up with me, it was very rare for someone to pass away alone or in the street. And I feel like our society has changed. I know here we're much bigger, and it's really hard to have that individual one-on-one connection and caring about people. But I'll talk to you a little bit about that as I move along. So first, I wanted to briefly continue with the picture of those souls who have departed from us in part due to homelessness. I thank their families for being here tonight to help us honor them, and I want to tell you a little bit about their situations. So I sent an email to David, Ellis, and Frank, and I asked a few questions. Tell me a little bit about who we're honoring. So how many homeless people passed away in the last year that we are honoring? And they told me there were 37. And 2 of them were unidentified but found in the woods. How many the year before? 39. So 2 less is not enough for us. Can you tell me something about them? So our homeless people who have departed, our souls who have departed, ranged in age from 28 years old to 65 years old. 30 were men and 5 were women. And what were some of the things that caused them to leave us on this earth? The things that were shared with me included chronic health conditions like cancer and diabetes, lack of medical treatment. Some of the people have wounds and were not able to follow up with the proper medical treatment needed, and so they have passed from this earth. Lack of adequate shelter. 2 gentlemen were found in the woods that passed away. And also substance abuse, including overdose on heroin and alcohol abuse. Now, I think you know as well as I do that these are things that we can continue to try to help people address, and we have to do better. So I had a few other questions. One, why do we have people dying on our streets as rich in resources as we are as a county? We have 1 million people or more in Wake County. And why do we have people dying on the streets? Why is this field not full of people here to help us honor? I think that needs to be a goal for next year, because the people that are here work very, very hard, but as it was said earlier, we can't do this by ourselves. And what do we need to do as a community differently to make this better for people? So David and Frankie were very eloquent in their answers and very straightforward. So I'm not taking credit for many of these words. I just want to share them with you. People die on the streets in Wake County when we as a community, number one, stop seeing. Stop seeing persons who are experiencing homelessness as people, as our family, as our friends, and as our neighbors. They die on our streets when we avoid others and fail to speak. When we fail to speak to them to see what help is needed. When we fail to speak to others about them and for them and with them. When we feel too rushed or too afraid to stop and check on someone. When we separate ourselves and think it could not happen to us. This separation fuels despair, promotes isolation, and entraps people in darkness. Honoring those who have gone before us and honoring those who are living alongside us brings light. Helping each member of our community better understand the plight of homelessness brings light. Having the courage to care brings light. And that light energizes our efforts exponentially. More access to health care, better access to mental health services, meaningful employment that supports you, and opportunities to hear and tell the stories of our lives. So in wrapping up, because I know it's cold out here, what can we do about it? So first, I'd like to thank the City of Raleigh and the Partnership to End Homelessness in Wake County for planning a multi-purpose center that will address some of the root causes of homelessness and help more people move to a better place. And hopefully we will see that come to fruition in, what, a year or two? Year or two, you think? Let's hope so. Now, as individuals, we also need to see. We need to see those on the side of the street and in the woods and in their cars asking for help. Do you know what you can do to help them? How many of you do? Raise your hand. See, we got an opportunity here. So those of us who need to know more about how to help need to have a conversation with some of our partners who are here tonight and some of the staff here tonight, because we can address this issue one-on-one. We can address it in groups. We can address it as neighborhoods and as communities and organizations, but don't forget the power of one-on-one. Now, as organizations, I think we have a huge opportunity to educate others about the magnitude of this issue and have confidence that we as a community can make a difference. So number one, if people don't know, they can't help. And if we don't believe we can make a difference, then we're probably not going to make a difference. But I believe we can. So if you know someone who is homeless right now, please help them seek help and know that there are people who care tremendously and who devote their lives to making the lives of others better. And finally, we want to continue to honor those who have departed this earth in a state of homelessness. And we will not be satisfied until, for Wake County, we come back to this field and there are no balloons that go in the air, and that number is 0. Thank you very much.